Afternoon everyone, just another quick video clipping coming. Thought I'd get going while I'm on a bit of a tear with it. Someone's already noticed that I'm screening these live from my New York penthouse, which I thought was quite a nice comment. Now this is one that I thought I'd do a video clip on this because genuinely this topic is horrible. If I was to pick a top 5 topics that St Michael students and students across the country make an absolute mess of, it's this one. In fact, we're about as good at this as Mr Howden is at lecturing about the Altar and Potsdam Conference. In fact, I think we must have sat through that while we're talking about this topic, because honestly, it is absolute bilge when it comes to producing this on the exam paper. So I just want to go through this one last time. Already done a video on it, but it's a few years old and people don't seem to be bothered about watching or looking for content that's beyond stuff that's newly released. So I just thought I'd do a quick one on this. So, Consolidation of Power, 1933 to 1934. Now, first of all, you've got to get that date right. You get that date wrong and you just get the question completely wrong. And it's obviously only a year window, so it's important you get the right events in this year. Now, technically this first one, you could talk about as the rise to power, but it is the first event in Hitler's consolidation. It's obviously him being made Chancellor in January 1933. That's the first event. That whole political intrigue where von Papen and Hindenburg, the big fellow there down at the bottom, who basically is persuaded to put Hitler in place because he's scared of communism. And Papen persuades him that Hitler is the antidote to that and that he's the only person who can stand up to communism. But von Papen's got an ulterior motive. He thinks that if we put Hitler in place, he'll fail and then I'll get my old job back happily ever after. Obviously, that doesn't work because the next few events give Hitler a foothold and give him complete power pretty much over Germany in the space of a year. Now, within a month, the Reichstag mysteriously burns down. There's obviously old conspiracies about that, but it's highly likely the Nazis did it. A Dutch communist called Maurits van der Lubbe is arrested in the Reichstag with petrol and some communist manifesto documents and stuff like that. But he's also got an IQ of 40, highly unlikely he did it, but it gives the Nazis massive control. 4,000 communists are arrested, concentration camps are set up, free speech is banned, assembly is banned, and the Nazis have a real stranglehold over the Reichstag, which obviously doesn't exist, but the Nazis are now controlling everything, and they are apparently protecting the Reichstag by basically passing a law, which is the next one here. In March 1933, they passed the enabling law. Reichstag 5 gives them the power to do this. It's basically a law that says I can pass any law that I want. So really the Reichstag has voted itself out of existence. This is passed by 444 votes to 94. So second event in the Consolidation of Power is the Enabling Law or the Enabling Act of March 1933. Now then, a year later, after the Reichstag is effectively, Hitler really with these two events removes any internal opposition in Germany. So any other parties pretty much are out of existence. Concentration camps are in full swing and people are being arrested and rounded up into that using the SA. Now, in June 1934, there's another bit of a challenge to the Nazis, which is from within his own party, the SA. Now, Hitler feels they're getting out of control. They're going around beating people up. Rom is becoming very increasingly powerful. And the big businessmen, the people that put Hitler in power, are looking at this and they think it's a bit of a negative. They think that Hitler's using a lot of violence and it doesn't look great. The optics aren't great for the Nazi party. Also, the SA are making sort of communist-style noises about, communist sort of things like one political party or equality and that sort of thing. So Hitler decides to make a move on them and he chooses to get rid of the SA or 400 of its key members in June 1934. It's the 30th of June 1934. So he literally gets rid of the leading members of the SA and makes a decision to replace it with the army. Now, I'm not saying it's a strange choice because the army's not very big, but the army is very respectable. It's also the best trained army in the world. And it's been training under limited numbers with absolutely amazing tactics, which we see at the start of World War II, for a number of years. So Hitler basically arrests, get rid of the leaders of the SA, and then in a couple of years' time, those 2 million odd soldiers who are in the SA can get funneled into the army, and he's got a ready-made army for conscription effectively. It also wins support of big businesses and the people who put him in power in the first place, and gives Hitler almost total control because people are terrified now. The Nazis have shown that they're happy and willing to use violence if necessary. The next major event is the death of Hindenburg. Hindenburg really is the last thing left of the old Reichstag. He's the last thing left of Weimar, really. He's 96 by this point, isn't going to last much longer, which is effectively why he's still there. And when he dies, Hitler gives himself the title of Führer, which is President and Chancellor put together. There's no elections about who's going to be president anymore. Hitler is fully in control of Germany. So hopefully this gives you the consolidation of power. Not the rise to power, it's the consolidation. That word solid, making power solid. So hopefully that cleans this one up, and we do well if this comes up in the exam, which invariably it usually does. Right, thank you, enjoy.